Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us here on the Statewide Noon News. I'm Samantha Sullivan. Well, just moments ago, Senator Jon Tester claiming victory in the race for U.S. Senate. Almost 15 hours after the polls closed last night, the race was called as the senator took a 5,000-vote lead over Republican challenger Matt Rosendale.
We've got an opportunity over the next 6 years, in my case, and over the next 2 years for sure, to do some really good work. I mentioned the issues, whether it's public lands or health care, veterans care, or making sure that we have government accountability in a transparent government and reducing the amount of money that goes into these races. I mean, it's crazy. These are bipartisan issues. Let's get her done.
As you saw, Tester addressing a crowd of both family and supporters as the news came in this morning. Now we go back to Great Falls, where MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison is standing by with more. Mike?
Good afternoon, Sammy. I'm standing here at the Holiday Inn in Great Falls. About an hour ago in this room, we heard Senator Tester give essentially his victory speech. He came down just before 11 o'clock and talked to a packed crowd in this room, and he accepted winning the race. As you know, he was leading late last night, and then Matt Rosendale briefly took the lead early this morning, about 2, 3, 4 in the morning, and held it for a while. Then we had a lot of late votes coming in from Missoula, from Bozeman, a few from Great Falls, pushed it back in the Tester's column, and then, of course, now he's been declared the winner. In his speech today to his supporters, he talked about a couple of things. Of course, he thanked all the people who worked very hard in this race, on this extremely close race, $60 million race, most expensive in Montana history. But then he also talked about what's ahead in terms of a split government. We have the Democrats controlling the House, Republicans controlling the Senate, and, of course, President Trump. He talked about how they really need to work together to address some big issues. Talked about veterans issues. He talked about agriculture. He talked about health care, among other things. And that was kind of his main message, is that as they look toward the next 2 years, as we have a bipartisan government, that people want them to work together to get things solved. They don't want them to be squabbling all the time. He said he's tired of the divisive politics. He didn't really take any shots at the president or his opposition. He said it's time for us to kind of heal those wounds and work together. And so that was the message here from Senator Tester. And back to you in the studio, Sammy.
Thank you, Mike. And as Mike mentioned, officially that race was called about an hour ago. And in just the last half hour, Matt Rosendale conceding to Senator Tester. In a statement, he said he spoke with the senator and congratulated him on his victory. Now we're going to head out to Helena, where MTN's Jonathan Ambarian is standing by. That's where Rosendale was awaiting his results for this election. Good afternoon, Jonathan.
Yes, I'm here at the Delta Colonial Hotel in Helena. That's where Matt Rosendale had his election night viewing party last night. So far this morning, we haven't heard directly from Rosendale, haven't seen him around here. Don't know if he's going to make an appearance or not, but we did, as you said, get a statement from him about 30 minutes ago, where he did confirm he had conceded. He had spoken to Senator Tester and congratulated him on winning the race. He also thanked all of his family and supporters and volunteers, and he said that despite the loss, he's not done with his efforts to serve the people of Montana. He said he's going to continue to advocate for lower health care costs and more options for health care as state auditor, which is the position he currently holds in Montana. So we'll be continuing to watch and see if we hear at all from Commissioner Rosendale later in the day. But for the moment, we'll send it back to you in Helena. Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. And if we do hear from Matt Rosendale, we will definitely update you in our evening newscasts. So, of course, now Senator Jon Tester winning a third term to the U.S. Senate. And here are the latest numbers on that race. Senator Jon Tester with 49% of the vote. That's about 222,000 votes. Matt Rosendale with 48% at 215,000. So Senator Jon Tester, his lead expanding a little bit, about 7,000 votes ahead of Matt Rosendale. And now we turn to the race for Montana's lone U.S. House seat. Incumbent Greg Gianforte is claiming victory. His challenger, Kathleen Williams, conceding this morning, saying she hopes he will serve Montana well over the next 2 years. Here's a look at those numbers. Gianforte winning with 52% of the votes. Democrat Kathleen Williams bringing in 45%. And Libertarian Eleanor Swanson ended up with 3% of the vote. This will be Gianforte's first full term in the U.S. House. He was first elected during a special election after former Representative Ryan Zinke was appointed to the president's cabinet. And we saw record voting turnout across the state of Montana last night, but in Missoula, some trouble with one of the ballot tabulating machines. Ann Hughes with Missoula County says one of the ballot machines went down from about 3 a.m. to 10 a.m. this morning. A technician all the way from Great Falls had to drive to Missoula to fix that machine. The technician arrived around 8 a.m. and got the machine back up and running. Missoula's ballots were some of the last to come in from Montana's largest populated cities. No word on what caused that machine to malfunction. And both House and Senate races dominated the conversation around the country last night. Democrats took control of the House while Republicans kept the Senate. But that has set up a power struggle on Capitol Hill that's likely to play out over the next couple of years. Nicole Killian has more details from Capitol Hill.
Voters went to the polls in record numbers, which resulted in both parties claiming victory. Democrats won enough seats to retake control of the House of Representatives.
But more than anything, it's about what a new Democratic majority will mean in the lives of hardworking Americans.
While Republicans expanded their hold in the Senate.
The American people have given us divided government, which they've given us most of the time since World War II. They seem to like divided government. And I think the message is, figure out what you can do together and do it.
President Trump was said to be ecstatic while watching the results. He campaigned hard in many of the states where Republicans held on to their Senate seats. This morning, he tweeted, "Those that worked with me in this incredible midterm election, embracing certain policies and principles, did very well. Those that did not, say goodbye."
I think one big lesson, you just can't get around it, is that he made a difference in so many of these races.
Yesterday's vote means battle lines have been drawn as Democrats in the House have now won the power to issue subpoenas. That will likely breathe new life into the House investigation of collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians, and they're likely to go after the president's tax returns.
It's about restoring the Constitution's checks and balances to the Trump administration.
President Trump is vowing to fight back, saying two can play that game, and said Republicans could launch investigations into leaks of classified information. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
President Trump did tweet his support for Nancy Pelosi to be the next Speaker of the House, saying she has earned the honor. Now turning to some more of our state ballot initiatives here in Montana. It's not looking good for either I-185 or I-186. So far, 54% of voters have said no to I-185, also known as the tobacco tax. 46% of voters showed their support. Many in the healthcare field praised the initiative, but opponents are worried the initiative wouldn't pay for itself and other areas of the state would suffer as a result. For I-186, it looks like Montanans are saying no to that initiative as well. The initiative would put restrictions on future mines across Montana unless the reclamation plan meets specific requirements to protect waterways. With the ballots counted so far this morning, 57% have said no, while 43% are showing their support. And the state is showing overwhelming support for the 6 mil levy that supports the Montana university system. Results show 62% of voters said yes to legislative referendum 128. And another referendum, number I-129 on ballot collection, is showing strong support as well. The yes votes sit at 63%. This referendum authorizes specific people to collect voter ballots. The intent is to ensure ballots aren't collected by fraudulent or partisan actors who might dispose of a ballot. And now we're switching gears and turning things over to Ed in the Weather Center. Ed, a little bit chilly, some winter weather advisories causing some nasty conditions out there.
That's right. Also some pretty scenes. We want to thank Patty for sending in this picture from around the Kalispell area where they picked up some snow. And it's not a lot of snow that we're talking about across the region. 1 to 3 inches in many cases for the totals, but you can see the blue shaded regions where winter weather advisories are into effect. Our concerns are first poor visibility, and secondly, areas where we could see some of that snow start to fall, melt, and then refreeze on some of the roadways. So use a lot of care throughout the rest of the day. Much of that snow will move through southern Montana through this evening, and visibility concerns will also be something we'll be watching for. More on the forecast coming up in a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Ed, and thank you for joining us here on the Statewide Noon News. Coming up, a man accused of killing his wife and daughters now says he's guilty. The latest when we come back, but first, Ed's back in with a full look at the forecast, and it looks like we're in for another chilly day. We're back right after this.
You're watching MTN News with Samantha Sullivan. Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and farm and ranch news from the Northern Ag Network. This is the noon news on Q2, Montana's news leader.